And it is time. It is time. Get in line because it's the third annual BTSC staff mock draft. And I'm really excited for this. Actually, this could be the fourth, Tony.
Yeah, 2019.
Oh, the fourth. Man, I screwed that up. We're actually bigger than we think we are. I'm really excited. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. I am the podcast producer here at BTSC. That's BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. Alongside with me are two of my closest friends in the world. I like one of them better than the other, but I will only tell them that I like them both. I'm just kidding. These guys are my boys. I love them. Shannon White, what's going on, my friend?
I'm excited to finally have a mock draft. I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Because I get to partake. This is my first one, so it is first for me. So I'm excited.
Tony, we've been doing this a long time. Are you revved up, or is it just like,
No, I mean it's always fun. I mean it's fun to speculate. And the first time we did it was on the phone. So this is
Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah.
Those of you who lived through the Blog Talk Radio days, yeesh. And I got to tell you, I'm wrong. I lied to you guys. I apologize because now I've got somebody else that I hurt their feelings. Let me bring it up. Maddie Peverell says, "I thought I was your boy." Yeah, he's my boy down under. There you go. And then now Marky D is going to be up here going, "Well, I thought I was in the mock draft before." So Marky D was he's a veteran of this because he was a fan for a couple of mock drafts. So I'm really excited for this. Now, this is a lot of fun for me because, like Tony alluded to, you, we started this out. It was me, Tony, and we got Dave Schofield involved.
Yeah.
And the thing with Dave Schofield and Tony, we're just like, all right, we're gonna take 3. Every third, we're gonna have a pick. So we had 11 picks each or so, and we all tried to pick the Steelers. It took forever, and I've always wanted to have a show where everybody was on the show or everybody was picking. And Jeff Hartman, God bless him, he hates doing mock drafts for any other team and one of the reasons is he doesn't want to follow other teams like he follows the Steelers, which, my gosh, I respect that. I definitely do. He's like, I don't know their needs. I don't know everything. I'm like, Jeff, trust me, you're involved. I can give you the Steelers if you want. I'll just cheat. And then I said, no. I said, we'll just pick for you. So I took all the names. I put them on a poker chip. My son has this poker set. So my wife wrote all the names on a poker chip. Did you guys watch the video, the draft selection show?
I did.
Yeah, I didn't even shower for that. I'm sorry that you guys had to watch me for 5 minutes going, hey, playing with poker chip. But so we go through and we pick the first one. And the first one was Dave Schofield. And that's easy for Dave. So he was able to put his through. Everybody else was kind of excited for it. Jeff was being curmudgeonly, saying, well, you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. But you knew he was joking. Yeah, you knew he was kidding around. Then I made the ultimate mistake of not cheating and putting Jeff at the Steelers because with the 14th pick in the BTSC draft, the Baltimore Ravens will be represented by Jeff Hartman. And he's like, oh! And I'm like, oh, crap, I should have never done that. Sometimes you just cheat. So you'll see what happens when we get there. And we had a lot of fun. And we did this over about 24 hours on Slack. And we would have got it done a whole lot quicker, but we've got time zones to deal with. We have Owen David, who's involved, was in England with one of the picks. So we decided not to bug him. And I really confused Shannon by saying, all right, we're going to wait till tomorrow to resume. Because Shannon was 19, Owen was 18. And Shannon's like, what do you mean it's past midnight? It's 7 o'clock here. It's 8 o'clock here. Wow, I don't believe in time zones. So we got it all done. It was great. We had 20 representatives from BTSC, everybody on a show. for BTSC was involved and was great. So my dreams came true. It turned into exactly what we wanted. So we are going to have that draft for you, but we need to talk about a few things before we go. All right. There's other drafts going on. And I know that you know, and you know that I know that you know that you're going to be involved in a draft next week. Snowman knows it. Snowman already got a hold of me. And so there's one official participant in next week's BTSC live chat draft. And it's Snowman. So I already promised Snowman that he's in, because he gets a hold of me every year. He's been doing it every year now too. So this is what we need you to do. If you want to be involved in the mock draft next week, you just have to, Tony, I'm going to have you help me out with this. Go ahead, throw it up on the screen. You just have to get a hold of me. You could do it via Twitter at BTSC BAD. Or you have to go ahead and send me an email. If you do know my text, because I see Captain Underpants says he wants in. I can't put you in unless you either send me a text or a message, or if you want to go ahead on email, it will be badavis8889 at gmail.com. So I need to have it in print so I don't lose you. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to take 32 this year. And we'll go ahead and do it. So if you're putting in the live chat that you want to do it, please send it to me some way there. Whether it be on Twitter, I'll go ahead and have you there. We are going to do things a little bit different. You will have 90 seconds once your name is called. If your name is called and you do not show up in 90 seconds, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go ahead and go to somebody that is on reserve, and we will take the first 5 people that want to be reserves that didn't get in. So if you're putting your email address in, please go ahead, and I'm not going to see it. I don't have the attention span to go back and look through this entire show to get the emails. So go ahead, send it to me that way, and we will do a drawing, and we'll let you know. Now, if you're Marky D, if you're Matty P, if you're Britsburg Owen, I'm not letting you guys in. You're in this one. So don't sign up double. You're not getting it. So with that being said, there's other news. There's other big news. We've got the draft party coming up. The Steelers have a draft party. Have you ever been to the draft party, Tony, Shannon?
No.
So they do this. It's great. I know they announce picks from the draft party. They'll try to get their first round pick, the first couple picks to come in. You could tour the locker room. There's all kinds of past and present players that are signing autographs. And so I was all excited. The Steelers win the Super Bowl in 2008. I'm going to this party. I buy tickets. I take my entire family. I take my friends. I just didn't count on Mrs. Bad being 8.5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And I did not count on this. I did not count on it being 92 degrees in late April in Pittsburgh. So you kind of combine those two factors, it's a mess. So, but Dave Schofield is putting up his tickets for the draft party that the Steelers put on. You've got to listen to our shows on the audio side, all right? And that'll be starting Wednesday with Let's Ride. And they're going to be on other shows as well. We are going to give you a trivia question. And the trivia question is you're going to have to come up with a player past or present number, and you're going to put it all into a code. So, for instance, if we tell you the Steelers, we might tell you the Steelers' current possible starting quarterback that just came from free agency from the Buffalo Bills. You need to look up and figure out what that number is. It's behind Shannon. The first one would be 10. So it'll be 10, the first part of the code. And then there's going to be there's going to be 12 numbers. So it'll be really cool. And the first one to have that in its entirety, completely correct, will win. So we will explain all that. I believe it is going to Jeff's email, but we will have more clarification on that. So make sure you listen to those shows. Now, you have to do something. You have to promise to go. If you win the tickets, you got to go. So you got to know you're going to be able to go. When you get there, you have to look for somebody. You've got to be on the lookout and track down. It's like, where's Waldo at Heinz Field? Where's Big Brosco? You've got to not only find him, but you've got to take a picture of yourself with Big Brosco. Tony, I mean, Tony's mad. He just sent me a message on our Slack channel. He said, I quit because I want to be on the show. He just resigned because he wants to go to this.
I mean,
so there you
go. You broke my trust. You broke my trust. I can't believe you did that. Journalists aren't supposed to reveal their sources. Oh well.
And maybe we can get Big Brosco to buy you a hot pretzel or buy you a souvenir, a drink. I don't know if he's going to do that. He'll probably make me reimburse him.
I forgive
maybe
easily.
we can get him
easily. I forgive easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's do this. Before we get started, I'm just going to say it is April 18th. It is snowing enough to be on the ground here in Maryland, which was a crazy, wet, snowy day, which I was not ready for either. So, you guys ready to unveil this thing? All right, so I'm going to bring out the picks, and with those picks, I'm going to have you guys do some analysis on this pick. So here we go with the first pick in the 4th annual BTSC staff draft is the Oracle, Dave Schofield. Dave Schofield, representing the Jacksonville Jaguars, selects Aiden Hutchinson, University of Michigan. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Well, they already have their quarterback of the future in Trevor Lawrence, so they couldn't go that route. So Hutchinson is the top prospect on a lot of boards. So the Jags certainly need a lot of help. So why not go with the best prospect? You can never go wrong with well, you can go wrong, but as far as addressing needs, if you can find a dynamic pass rusher like a TJ Watt or one of the Bosas or Myles Garrett, you got to do it. So if Hutchinson could be that guy for them, then that's a home run.
Shannon, I believe one of the analysts came out this week and said that this guy, Aiden Hutchinson, is better than both Bosas. What do you think about that?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think he is the safest pick for the number 1 overall pick, where there's not a consensus guy this year, which is kind of unusual. For Jacksonville's got the number 1 overall pick, but there isn't a guy that consensus everybody wants. But Hutchinson is the safest pick. It's his tape is great. He tests well. He's not an athletic freak like a few of the other guys that a defensive end, but he's a very safe pick. So I think that he will be the number 1 overall.
Well, according to Dave Schofield, he's going with Hutchinson, and he is representing Jacksonville. So good job, Dave. Here's our next pick. This is an interesting one. It is the Detroit Lions. We have seen Detroit all the way across the board. They can go anywhere. We've heard Malik Willis with these guys. We've heard so many different things with Detroit. They have lots of needs. So, with that being said, Jeremy Betts from the Steelers Draft Fix, he knows a little bit about drafting players. So, Jeremy Betts is representing the Detroit Lions. And with the second pick in the BTSC draft, the Detroit Lions, according to Jeremy Betts, select Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame. This is where we've got to go all Mel Kiper and go, or Chris Berman and go, ooh, you guys got to do that for me. We got to have some reaction. That's an interesting pick, guys. Yeah, there you go. That's an interesting pick. I love this guy. I think this guy is fantastic. I know a lot of people were hoping that he would fall to the Steelers. He is not. Andrew Wilbar thought that he's a good pick, but thought he was going to fall out of the top 10 possibly. Shannon, what about Detroit taking this guy this high?
I kind of agree with Andrew. I just thought he might fall out of the top 10. His 40 times is just scaring people. Another, just like Hutchinson, there's a guy that's got great tape, but is the big question with him is, can he, at that next level, with his speed good enough that he can make those same plays he made at Notre Dame? Because he's got instincts, he's got length, he's got everything. He's also more of a free safety. So that's why I wasn't excited about the Steelers getting him. I don't know Detroit's draft needs that much, but if they're needing a free safety, that makes sense. But I still think that he'll fall a little farther than pick 2.
Tony, do you have thoughts about Mr. Hamilton?
Well, I'm a little surprised that the Lions took him, that the Bets took him, but Jeremy, I should say. But I think he's maybe the best player left on the board as far as the top 5. I mean, I really like him. I mean, I think he's a great overall player, and he played for a top school. I was wondering if they would go with quarterback or O-line, but I think number 2 might be too high for quarterback here, and all the other positions like receiver, line, cornerback, tackle that the Lions need. I think the only one that considered there would be a tackle. So I think as far as value, Hamilton's the best pick for the Lions.
All right, Jeremy, one of his quotes on this was, really wanted to go Trayvon Walker here, but defensive back is just too big a hole for Dan Campbell's team. That's why he went with Hamilton. Let's go to number 3 from the Steelers Power Half Hour. It's Paul Yanchek. Check out Paul along with Joe and Chris on the weekends with a great show from the Ohioans. So Paul, with the 3rd pick, has the Houston Texans, and he is going to go Evan Neal, offensive tackle from the University of Alabama. Paul says, without a superstar quarterback, unless Davis Mills lights it up, they will need a stud on the line to protect him and give him time. He's a stud, Tony. This is a big dude.
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely I think the consensus top tackle on the board. I saw some big boards where he was the top prospect altogether. So, I mean, this is a great pick for them. And as you said, they have Davis Mills, and even at number 3, I'm not sure if these, I like these quarterbacks more than a lot of people do, but I'm not sure if the 3rd overall pick is the way to go for quarterback. So, I like this for the Texans.
Shannon, you like this one?
Oh yeah. If I was Jacksonville with the 1st pick, I would take Neal to, build up that line for Trevor Lawrence, because they went out and overpaid for some free agent wide receivers, and they really need to, strengthen that offense. And you get a guy who's going to be a good left tackle for quite a while. So yeah, I think that's a great pick for Houston.
Let's go to number 4 as we speed this up a little bit. The New York Jets. It's Tony Defeo, general manager for the Jets. He keeps his job for a little bit. I think he makes a great pick. I am not going to tell you who it is. I am going to let Tony go ahead and announce his pick.
With the 4th pick, the Jets select Ahmed Sauce Gardner, cornerback, Cincinnati, Ohio, whatever. And you probably want my thoughts, right?
Yeah, because you never sent them to me. So
I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
But
no one else did either, so don't worry about it.
No, I wanted Kyle Hamilton because I think that was one of the Jets' top needs. But as far as the rest of the Jets' needs and what was available, it was either going to be Theobald, the edge rusher, or Gardner. Those were the two that I was going back and forth on. And I decided on Gardner because those guys are hard those top corners, probably more than any other position. A top corner is hard to find once you get past the first 5 or 10 picks in most drafts. So I figured Gardner was the pick to go with.
And you just like saying Sauce.
I do. Sauce Gardner.
Shannon, weigh in on Sauce.
Oh, I think Sauce Gardner is easily the best cornerback in this class. And that's great for them to get him there. If you get a shutdown corner, and he was definitely a shutdown corner in college, and I think with his length and abilities, he'll be able to duplicate that in the NFL. So I think that's a great value. So yeah, that would have been my pick for sure.
All right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to number 5. It's another Ohioan. It is Chris Pugh with the New York Giants. Chris thinks that they need an offensive tackle. And with the 5th pick in the BTSC draft, the New York Football Giants select Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Mississippi State. Give me something, boy. Gallery, give me something.
Want me to go? Or you can go, Shannon. You go ahead, Shannon.
No, I need you guys to.
He's
when I
with
make the pick,
reactions.
when I make the pick, I need to have.
I can't. This is egregious.
You guys are
Egregious
just.
pick.
You guys are just the crickets. Stop.
What throw something across the room or something?
Well, I've seen Cross. Mocked all over the place in the top 20 anyway. As Ekwonu, he seems like the consensus number 2 tackle. So I figured if the Giants were going to go that direction, that's what they would go with him. But Cross is, he's a first round prospect, but top 5, I'm not sure.
Shannon, did you know that back in, it might have been the 50s or 60s, the Steelers selected a player named Charles Cross?
No, it did not.
Yeah, I've got to look more into it, but I noticed that when I was doing my article the other day to see other fun names that the Steelers have drafted over the years. They've drafted a Woodrow Wilson, a Ricky Martin in the same draft. They've had a Bill Shakespeare. Yeah, check out The More You Know. I've got 20 really funny names on there that the Steelers have drafted famous names that weren't really famous. It was my namesake column. So check that out on The More You Know. So let's go ahead and check out number 6 here. And number 6 is Michael Beck. We're going to go across the border to Canada with the 6th pick in the NFL draft. The BTSC staff mock draft, the Carolina Panthers select quarterback Liberty Malik Willis.
Whoa! I don't believe that.
It took 6 picks, but finally.
To quote Facebook, is he smoking crack?
All right. Well, I can't type that in, but all right. So actually, I think this is going to happen unless they go and get Baker Mayfield. But Shannon, Malik goes this early?
A lot of people will be really excited because that means the Steelers can't take him. And then a lot of people around Steelers Nation is going to be disappointed. He's got an incredibly high ceiling, but he's got a really low floor. But, they do seem interested in him. So as long as the Steelers ain't trading up after him, I'm okay.
Tony.
In all seriousness, this is the part of the draft where I thought the first quarterback would go. Panthers. I mean, Willis has been linked to them this spring, so I'm not really shocked. I think it's, if you need a quarterback, like I keep saying, if you need a quarterback and you feel strongly about somebody, you have to go for it. So maybe Michael Beck and the Panthers feel strongly about Malik Willis. I was disappointed for a different reason. I'm on the latter group that Shannon was mentioning. I actually kind of want Willis to fall to Pittsburgh at 20. I really am intrigued by him. Maybe I'm just buying into all the hype. I'm really intrigued by him.
I'm taking him at 20 if he's there. I'm with you guys. I'm not looking to trade up, but if he's the superstar that he could be, you get an opportunity to trade up. You just don't know. It's like, let's make a deal. You just don't know what's under door number 2. You might end up with a lifetime supply of Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco tree. Michael Beck says they are the second most interested team in a quarterback, and they take one first. Very interesting. The New York Football Giants, Kevin Tate. If you're not checking out this show, we run the North. It comes out on Sundays on our YouTube channel. Good show with Tate Boys. Tate's been in this draft before, in the not this draft, but the live chat draft the last few years. And the New York Giants, with the 7th pick, select Kayvon Thibodeau, edge, Oregon. This guy's a stud. Tony, I know you weren't quite sure with his name. I think you pronounced it something a little bit different. But this guy could flat out get to the quarterback, can he?
Yeah, if he's the start, I think he can be. I'll learn how to say his name eventually. But yeah, I was considering him as the GM of the Jets at pick number 4. So I really think highly of him. So it's a great pick.
Well, that's okay, because the next guy, I can't pronounce his name, and I've been trying. But Shannon Thibodeau, this guy's the first edge rusher off the board. Is it okay to take a guy this early? But because the last edge rusher to come out of Oregon was in 2013, pick 4 overall. I can't even remember his name. I just know that he wasn't good.
Well, do you not consider Hutchinson an edge rusher?
I guess so. I
consider him more a defensive class.
I guess so. I consider him more a defensive end, and this guy more of an outside linebacker. So
yeah, I can see.
I will say that. I think that you're right. That works. So not the first one, but this guy is really tough. You think he's better than Hutchinson?
I do not. I think he is could very well be Clowney 2.0. He's a freak athlete, but I don't think his motor runs hot all the time. I don't like his effort levels. He should have been more dominant in college, in my opinion. So, yeah, I don't know if that's a good pick for them or not. I think there was other ways they could have went. That they might end up regretting that pick.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not. This isn't really Tate's pick, because this is this is where everybody has this guy going. They don't have him falling out of the top 10. So Kevin's right in line with this. But
I'm just saying that I just think
don't know. I think this guy's a stud, but I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I'm afraid that he's going to end up being more. He's more athlete than he is player, and that's what I'm afraid. Kind of like Clowney, he'll never make the impact for that high draft pick.
All right, the guy I was thinking of out of Oregon was Deion Johnson. He went 3rd overall, but that was a really weird draft. That 2013 draft. That's when the Steelers took Jarvis Jones. That comes down as one of the more disappointing drafts for me, not just for the Steelers, but overall the entire first round. Let's go take a look at Joe Frost from the Ohioans at number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons. Here we go. Now, Matty Peverell said that we should go dun-dun-dun before each pick, but that's going to make me crazy if we do this. I can't pronounce this one, so Tony, you don't have to punch me in the face now for making fun of you, because I could not pronounce Ikem Ekwonu. That might be it. Icky Ekwonu.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll take it.
Close enough.
Whoa,
I know this guy,
by the way.
This guy is an offensive good job out of North Carolina State. I think he's tough. I really think this guy's tough.
He's a good pick. I was wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if the Falcons would go for a quarterback here because of Matt Ryan, the trade, and I don't know who's your quarterback now. I'm not even sure, but I was
Marcus Mariota.
Pickett would go here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there you go. So I was wondering if
that would make sense too. Joe Frost says, I had wanted Cross here, but stupid Giants took him. Got to protect that Mariota. He be fragile, according to Joe Frost. I love that. The Seattle Seahawks at number 9 from the Denver Broncos in that Russ Wilson trade. Greg Benevent is a Yinzer from What Yin's Talking About. If you're not checking out that show, it's coming up on Thursdays at noon on the audio side. That is a blockbuster show as well, along with his partner Kyle Kreis on that show. Jermaine Johnson, the second edge rusher from Florida State. Looks like we had one edge go, and now we seem to have a whole lot more, Shannon.
Yeah, there could be a run on him because you can never have enough pass rushers. I really like him. Jeremiah Johnson, he might end up being the best edge rusher out of this whole draft class. He's very consistent. He has been consistent for more than 1 year, and I think he could be the best of the group, but that remains to be seen.
I think I messed up the ESPN tune. I'm not sure what they're saying in the live chat. So Maddie's going to come in and take over the show for me because I think I'm getting fired as we speak. So my draft hosting duties aren't good. So stay tuned. We're going to have Maddie come in and bump me out. But I don't think he has the list. So I think I stay. Tony, this guy, I don't know much about Jermaine Johnson II, but I saw some tape on him. I'm like, wow, this guy flies.
He's like Shannon said, he's a stud, and he's one of the top ranked players he's right around the top 10 as far as all the big boards I've seen. And the Seahawks are kind of after Russell Wilson. They don't seem to be in with this pick. I guess they're not going quarterback right away. So yeah, I mean, if you can find yourself a stud pass rusher, you can never go wrong there. So that's one of the top most important positions in football. So I like it.
I just don't see Pickett in Seattle. That just doesn't scream Seattle to me. Going from Russell Wilson to Kenny Pickett, I'm just not sure, but that's interesting. I think they need to bring somebody in. Now, that's a good question. I'm not sure who's in line to be starting right now either. That's a place where I would love to see Malik Willis go. In fact, sign me up for Malik Willis on the Seahawks. I think that, as much as I'd like to have him for the Steelers if he drops, but I think that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense too. So let's go ahead and go to the next pick. This is where we get another Aussie in the mix, and one of the most enthusiastic of all of us here at BTSC. It's our buddy Marky Davison, Marky D, one half of the BTSC boy band that is Touchdown Under. And he is absolutely going with a heartbreaker for Steeler fans, a guy that the Steelers love, with the 10th pick in the BTSC staff mock draft. The New York Jets select Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, Georgia.
Come on, mate.
Okay, now dial it down, Tony. Keeping with Tony D's hot sauce pick, let's keep adding to the defense because let's face it, the Jets offense is boring to watch. Robert Saleh will love the addition of New Fridge to the team. He's the new Fridge already. The dude's a unit. Let's go Jets, Jets, and he actually types that out. Is this too early for this guy, or are we just saying that because a lot of people want to see this guy in Pittsburgh, Shannon?
Yeah, he's really intriguing. Just a guy that big and can move like that, and played in the SEC, level competition. He fills all the boxes, and then some. So that would be a great pick for them or whoever gets him. I think he does have 3 down abilities, even though they didn't always use him that way. But Georgia was just so deep, so he'd be a great pick, and wherever he goes, even if it ain't the Steelers.
All right, Tony D, you're the GM, and now you have a guy trying to knock you out of your position in New York. Do you like the pick of a defensive tackle to go with your hot sauce?
Oh yeah, I mean, I like Jordan Davis. I mean, I'm not sure if he's top 10, but I mean, I could see him going there. I mean, you're a team like the Jets. You drafted Ryan Wilson last year as your quarterback. Maybe you go with some, you try to get him some skill position players or a tackle, but I mean, it's hard to argue with this pick here. I mean, you know, if you can hit on both of these defensive players, a corner and a dominant defensive lineman, interior lineman, I mean, that's going to make your defense one of the best in the league before long. So I like the pick. It's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do with these two picks.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So with the 11th pick in the NFL BTSC mock draft, it's Bryan Anthony Davis, host of a couple shows, and a guy that's that they just put him on the payroll just because he keeps showing up. So with that being said, you could tell that there wasn't any cheating because I would never give myself the Washington Commanders. My gosh, but I had to. So with this pick, the Commanders select Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State. Look, he's a burner. He's fast. This wide receiver stable, besides Terry McLaurin, is barren like a 70-year-old granny. So, thank you. Tony, that's where I need the rim shot. So let me try that again. Tony, help me out here. Barren like a 70-year-old granny. No rim shot. Oh, all right. Bah.
I tried.
All right.
I thought I did. I thought I did.
Right.
Maybe you didn't hear it.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to let you guys comment on that pick in the interest of time because it's my pick and you're just going to hurt my feelings. It's a good pick. Let's move on. With the 12th pick in the BTSC mock draft for the staff, it is the Minnesota Vikings with Andrew Wilbar. Andrew's in the live chat. The Minnesota Vikings select Trayvon Walker, defensive end, Georgia. My gosh, the entire Georgia defense is being drafted, at least the defensive line. And Jeremy Betts wanted him at number 2, but wanted to go wanted to go defensive back. Betts also says on this pick, classic BPA. Wilbar says Minnesota did add Zadarius Smith to the mix, but the value with Walker is just too good to pass up. He will not slide this far in the real draft, and it would not shock me if Jacksonville pulls the trigger, get ready, Tony, on him number 1 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Wow. That's all over the place with that guy. If he gets that, if they draft him there, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, I haven't seen it anywhere, but he's definitely a good player.
Well, if anybody knows it's Wilbar, check him out. This guy knows his stuff. And speaking of knowing his stuff, I want to go ahead and bring up this guy. I'm going to do a plug right now. Tony Pauline from the Pro Football Network, and he's a draft guru. He is going to be on Let's Ride on Wednesday for the Monday morning conversation that we're moving to Wednesday. So check that out. That is going to be fantastic. You do not want to miss that. I haven't had a sneak peek at it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and try to grab the audio early, and I can't wait. Jeff said that it was fantastic, so you do not want to miss that. So let's go ahead and move on in the draft, just in the interest of time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys jump in if you think of something really pressing to say. If not, we'll just keep it going. The Houston Texans, this is the Cleveland Browns pick. Kyle Kreis from What Ian's Talking About. Select wide receiver Drake London from USC. Texans need a wide receiver, don't they, Shannon?
Yeah, that's a really good pick. He's very Mike Evans-like. So, I think that would be a really good pick for them.
And those guys are in Los Angeles, the What Ian's Talking About crew. They're in LA. so they've seen plenty of guys like this. Okay, there's going to be a lot to talk about with number 14 here. Jeff Hartman is selecting for the Baltimore Ravens. And here we go. At number 14 of the 14th pick in the Behind the Steel Curtain staff mock draft, the Ravens select Matt Araiza, kicker, San Diego State.
Whoa. That's great value right there. At 14.
So, yeah, I mean, they don't have a kicker. They just have this guy named Tucker.
Right. Yeah.
So
they're grooming him for Tucker's to be Tucker placement.
So when this happened, the guy who's putting this whole thing together, I didn't say a word, did I? I just sent out a picture on our Slack channel after Jeff made the pick, and it was of me going like this. With my hands in my head. Oh, I was like, dude, you can't do that. But I allowed it. But Jeff, being Jeff, was like, look, I hate the Ravens. This was his analysis. I hate the Ravens, so I'm giving them a kicker. Well, he's giving them a kicker and a punter. This guy could do, he's like McAfee. He could do both. But Jeff did say, hey, look, I don't want to mess this whole thing up, so I'm not going to. I was going to allow it to just go. I didn't care. But then from the Power Half Hour, jumping in to give an assist, he said, was Chris Pugh. And Chris said, let's go ahead and let me suggest George Karlaftis from Purdue with this pick. So he is going to be 14B. We're going to go ahead and put Karlaftis in from Purdue. Tony, do you know much about Karlaftis?
Not much, other than I've seen him. Most of the big boards I've studied, he's somewhere in the top 15 or 20 on many of them. So he's definitely a good player, and he might be a good pick for the Ravens. We'll see.
Maddie doesn't agree with the Karlaftis pick. I've seen this guy here, there, and everywhere in the first round, and it seems like he's been all over the place here, but the Baltimore Ravens will be going with Karlaftis. I've actually seen him mock drafted to Baltimore. So Matt doesn't think that he fits the scheme, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. And I like the pick. There you go, Maddie. So let's go to number 15. It's Big Bro Sko. And the Big Bro thinks there's going to be some big things in Philadelphia as he's picking for EAGLES, the Eagles. Some of the most interesting fans on earth. And Big Bro Sko with the 15th pick in the BTSC mock draft for the staff, Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback, Louisiana State University. I love this guy. Could this guy be a Steeler, Shannon White?
He looked great as a freshman, but he hasn't ever played back up to that level. So, therefore, I've kind of dropped him down on my board, especially for the Steelers, because even though I know you don't want to hear this, Bryan, they do struggle sometimes picking cornerbacks. So, I would be a little leery of him.
Shut up, Shannon. That's a whole other show. Yes. So I get it. Tony, help me out here. You know what? Wait, what happened? Oh no, something's wrong with Shannon's mic. Oh, there he goes. He's gone.
It's technical difficulties every time.
Yeah, I can't cut him off completely. All right, so let's go to number 16, and this is one that's sticking in the craw of Shannon. So it is Jeffrey Benedict, the first pick for the New Orleans Saints. And they pick Kenneth Shane Pickett, quarterback, University of Pittsburgh. Shannon, you were mad when he took your pick.
Well, I can't say why I was mad till a little later when my pick comes up. But
All right.
yes,
All right.
it was just basically it was an order of things, which we can explain later. But yeah, Pickett going to the Saints, it makes sense. Yeah, they need a quarterback, and I think he would be great in the dome. I think he'd be great in that offense. So yeah, I think that it makes total sense.
A different kind of black and gold for Pickett, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, if people are worried about his hand size, playing indoors half the time or more than half the time here, that should help. And I think he's most quarterback ready, and he's somebody that could theoretically step in and start in year one for the Saints. So I was hoping he would fall a few more spots, and I guess we'll see if the Steelers are going to go for the third best quarterback on the board. We'll see, but I was hoping he would fall to 20, but I guess it wasn't meant to be for my Steelers.
There you go. I tell you what, this just makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. And so the bad guy really thinks that this was the right pick for the Saints, no matter who's picking it. I just you don't make that trade. You don't give up what they gave up to not take a quarterback. And that's the New Orleans Saints, because they gave up a lot in that trade that we announced 2 weeks ago on this show. So really interesting stuff. I think that's almost a given. I think that's definitely going to happen. Let's go to Matty Peverell. And he's on, so I don't want to let's agree to talk about how bad this pick sucks. And with the 17th pick in the BTSC mock draft, Matty Peverell and the Los Angeles Chargers select Devin Boyd, linebacker, Utah.
What? I don't get it. I just get it.
I actually thought that Lloyd might have went to the Eagles instead of Stingley, because they need linebacker help as well. But for all intents and purposes, he's been the number one inside linebacker on the board. And so if he went to the Chargers, that's just the rich getting richer.
I tell you what, I really love what they're doing in Los Angeles. And my apologies to myself, because I'm actually going to compliment Matty P here. That's a fantastic pick. I love Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd has Steelers written all over him too, if you ask me. That's, if they don't pick up a Miles Jack, I think this is the one that everybody's screaming for. I think that's really what they would be doing. So great pick by Matty P. And he was coming back from Singapore at the time when he made this pick on a plane, and he did not get caned, which I was really happy about that. Because every time I think of Singapore, I think of somebody getting caned or worse. So his exact words, sorry, my pick is Devin Lloyd, but I almost went with Tyler Linderbaum. So he wasn't picked for the Steelers. I like that. He was just going to screw the Chargers over completely just so the Steelers would not pick Linderbaum. But I don't think that would have happened because of who is picking for the Steelers. I think for the Chargers, these are quite likely, given the depth at both positions and having Corey Linsley, who is 32 years old, that this is just a smart pick. With Lloyd, I like that. Let's go with Owen David, the voice from across the pond. You can check him out. Just definitely check him out on my show, Bad Language, that came out today. He stops in, and he was also with me yesterday on the Steelers Q&A, the Sunday night Q&A. He goes, Chris Olave, wide receiver, Ohio State. Shannon, the second Ohio State player to catch balls taken off. Is he better than Garrett Wilson? Is this a great pick here for the Eagles?
I don't know if I can say he's better than Garrett Wilson, but he's very natural. Everything he does is very smooth. You can't really compare him to anybody else in this draft class, because he just seems like one of them guys that is going to catch anything thrown to him. So they were looking for a receiver, And, it's arguable whether he was the next highest ranked left on the board, but in their eyes, maybe he is. But he looks like he's going to be a quality receiver regardless. Everything just comes too easy to him.
All right. Speaking of receivers, we're going to keep on going here. At number 19, the New Orleans Saints, their next pick, it's Shannon White. And I'm going to let Shannon White make this pick.
With the 19th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Alabama.
Oh! The only reason I'm going now is I want this. This is the guy I want.
The reason I was upset when GB took Pickett for the Saints with the 16th pick is that's who I'd already put in my mind I was going to take with the 19th pick for the Saints. And so when he took Pickett, it was only natural because I figured that Williams would go in that 16th pick. But he's, of all the receivers in the draft, if that knee heals completely, he's the most explosive.
I think it's an Achilles, isn't it?
No, it was his ACL on his knee.
Oh, I've been telling people Achilles. Okay.
But he could be, you got that hill factor, that he can score at any time if he gets his hands on the ball. He could have an impact with Pickett, kind of like Burrows and Chase had last year. So I think that was a great pick for the Saints.
Let me just go ahead and say Brian Brown is confused that Tony didn't like that pick. Tony was just doing what I asked him to do and just like, let's just make fun of Maddie.
No, it was actually a good value pick.
I love your pick here, Shannon. I just the selfish guy in me. I want him in Pittsburgh. I definitely do. KT Smith says, smart pick, Shannon. If you didn't take him, I was going to run his name up like I stole something. Love that. Man, if there's an old lady there in a walker, you knock her over to get a guy like that.
Wow.
But Tony's like, wow, Brian's going for it today. But all seriousness, you can't take Williams over Pickett if you're the Saints. You've got to get that quarterback first. So Jeffrey made the right pick from stealing him from you, and you're all on the same team. You're eating gumbo together.
Yes.
So there we go. So the pick everybody's been waiting for. It is a lengthy one here. A lengthy description with a 20th pick. One Kevin Thatcher Smith from Here We Go, the Steelers show, the pregame show in season. He is going to select defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt from Georgia for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is also a guy that Dave Schofield had one word and 6 exclamation points and just wrote, yes. This is Dave Schofield's guy too. A lot of people want this guy over Jordan Davis. So let me read what KT wrote. There are no quarterbacks worth taking here, nor do I believe are there any offensive tackles. Bernard Raymond and Trevor Penning are from non-Power 5 schools, and that's not something Kevin Colbert does in round 1. Tyler Linderbaum is tempting, but the Steelers are now fairly deep at guard and center. Jameson Williams was a no-brainer at wide receiver, but it's a deep draft for receivers. He's gone already, and we can get a good one later. They're going to sign a safety in free agency, so that position is out. Cornerback is another area to consider, but I don't love Booth here. That's the kid from Clemson. McDuffie from Washington is tempting, but he's not, in my opinion, the BPA, which is a luxury the Steelers can afford. So without further delay, with a 20th pick in this here draft, I love this here, the almighty Pittsburgh Steelers select defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt from Georgia, where they will turn him over to Brian Flores to slant, stunt, and scheme the crap out of people. That's a coach talking right there. Slant, stunt, and scheme the crap out of people. Let the havoc wreaking commence. He's a perfect scheme fit for the Steelers. It reminds me of when they drafted Ryan Shazier. They already had Lawrence Timmons and Vince Williams, but Shazier's athleticism was too tempting to pass up. I think Wyatt can do similar things for the defensive line. There you go. With 2 weeks left in the draft, this seems to be the sexy pick for the Steelers. He's one that's popping in a lot later than the other picks, and this seems to be the guy that don't be surprised if they go for, and don't be surprised if you're disappointed with the pick, but don't be surprised if 6 months from now you are hailing Kevin Colbert and the Steelers for picking this guy. So that's probably because it's not the defensive tackle from Georgia you're looking for. Everybody knows Jordan Davis. But what we're hearing from Devontae Wyatt, this guy could be an absolute stud. So call me McDonald's. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm loving it. So, gentlemen, that's our BTSC draft. Why not 21 for 30 through 32? Because the Steelers aren't in it. No one cares, right? So we are not going to do that. So we're not going to.
It's like if you're a wonder and you.
Go ahead, Tony.
Who's the guy that's saying American Pie? It would be like him singing that song first and then wanting people to stick around. You're not going to do it. Yeah, you're not going to stick around after American Pie. So.
Oh my gosh, I love that. There you go. So, Shannon, any final thoughts from the mock draft?
No, I think it was pretty accurate. It could fall kind of similar to that. A lot of those picks, I think, that makes sense. So I think everybody really tried. Jeff, in his defense, he said he didn't want to do it. And so he had fun with it.
Yeah, but
he wanted it.
Jeff's a really good sport.
Yeah, he had fun with it. And,
Jeff's a good sport. And
but yeah,
he was completely behind the whole thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
so. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, I think
kicker. I thought it was awesome. I think that's great.
But yeah, I think that was a blast. That was a lot of fun. That was the first one I've got to do, so I really enjoyed it.
Tony, best one yet?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot just from reading the analysis, this live chat, listening to you and Shannon talk about these guys. And like Shannon said, there's no real consensus number one pick this year, but teams still need a lot of teams still need quarterbacks. So that's what makes this interesting. There's 3 or 4 quarterbacks that could get taken in the top 20. And when you factor all that in, it's really intriguing. And I think these 20 picks make a lot of sense, but they could also be interchangeable too. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be your source for the NFL draft and what the Steelers are doing 24/7. So check us out, not only on the audio only side, not only on the YouTube and Facebook side, but on the editorial side as well. I'm going to go ahead and print something up, and you will see this week the results of this. You'll also see the results next week of your draft. So get that information into me. It's at BTSC, BAD on Twitter, or BADavis8889 at gmail.com to go ahead and get your reservation for your pick. That's exactly what we're going to do, and we appreciate you. We're going to do that next week. As always, that's a fun one, too. So for Tony Defeo, for Shannon White, my name is Draftmaster Bryan Anthony Davis. You could call me Bad. We have 3 things we need you to do. Number 1, be safe. Number 2, be true to yourself. And number 3, always be behind the steel curtain. And just when you think you've got all the answers, Tony Defeo,
we keep changing the questions.
Shannon, give it to me. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for those hypocycloids. We'll talk to you next week, and go Steelers.